my Facebook Lives in the past, you probably know that I'm not huge on slide decks. And yet, lo and behold, I decided to build a slide deck for this one. And then I ended up down a rabbit hole. And 7 hours later, I have a very large slide deck. So, in the event you have to pop off, not worry, because it's coming through here and because I was able to get it through third party, we should, all goes well, have a replay. So in the meantime, if you just want to tell me yes or no, do you have a website? Yes, I have a website. No, I don't have a website. That's just going to, one, help wake up the algorithm so that other people can see that we're live here too, but also two, gives me a little bit of a starting point to know where we're coming from on this. I do know that we do have a bit of a delay in here. So yeah, I've got some websites. Perfect. Yes, but not published yet. Perfect. Well, good news, Elizabeth. You are most of the way there, but until it's published, nobody can find it. And we're going to talk about why you want to make sure you get it out there and get it published. Perfect. Working on it, have the domain. Awesome. I love that. You know, getting the domain sometimes is the hardest part. Elisa, you are on your host agency, working on one positive to hear this. Fantastic. Well, welcome everybody. I am so excited to see you. I do apologize with the tech issues that were going on. So here's what happened is on this computer, which got reconfigured, I don't have Facebook logged on. And so I don't remember what my passwords are. So I had to reset all of my passwords. And unfortunately, when I did that, it wiped out all of my stream keys inside of my third-party software. And so therefore, I ended up having to reconfigure all the back end. I will be the first to say I am not tech savvy, but we got it. We're here and we're going to get going. So without further delay, let me go ahead. I'm going to share a screen here. Let's see if it's going to let me pick the screen. Let's do this. If you can tell me that oh, perfect. I can see it on here. So we are going to give this a try and just hope that this works. We are going to use my slide deck from Canva and away we go. So what every travel advisor needs to know about landing pages and getting websites, landing pages, and getting found online. So we're going to talk the difference between a landing page and a website, but also too, why both are so important. So you don't need to be techie, but you do need to be strategic. So just like I said a minute ago, I'm not techie, but I got the stream keys all figured out. I had a brief moment where I was about to say, screw it, and go straight over into Facebook. But the problem with that is then I can't repurpose this video. We have the Travel Advisor Success Studio where we are all about websites in there this month. And so I wanted to make sure that I could take this and repurpose it over there for them so that they can also get the benefit of this in there to complement all of the other content that we've got going on in there. So tech sometimes can be overwhelmed. Yes, tech overwhelms you. No, tech's not a big deal. I would love to know, are you techie, not techie? Does it give you the hives? You know, tech is one of those really overwhelming things. I will say, I have started to do a lot of ChatGPT to understand tech better, but I'm going to put a caveat on there because the coaching program that I am a part of, one of the women was just on there, and it is all coaches of different industries and other such that are in there. And the one is actually a sex therapist, and she did not double check what ChatGPT gave her for all of her tech setup. So apparently a few seconds after it went to her sales page, it redirected to a site that was not hers, that, you know, if you were lonely, they could help you. And so don't just take everything that is on ChatGPT or on Google or wherever as gospel, and instead make sure that you test everything. But I will say there's been a few times in the last little bit here as we're getting ready to launch a new training that's going to be coming out. And we're going to put it out on what we call an evergreen. Don't worry about that term. But there's some tech factors going to it because I'm using this software for this thing and I'm using this website for this thing. So how do I get them to talk to each other? So I've gone into ChatGPT and I've said, this is my where I'm going to host the webinar. This is where the emails are going to come to. This is where my sales page is. How do I put it all together? And it actually has given me a step-by-step guide as if I was in kindergarten. So I love it because that's about my tech speed. And it's allowed me to be able to walk it through step by step. You can even actually get it to give it to you almost in a workbook style, which is fantastic as well. Kathy, you've missed nothing other than the fact that I had a tech glitch and was late getting started. But this is genuinely the first slide. And there we go. So over on my Facebook, my husband is sending me memes in the chat because my husband apparently does not realize that I have Facebook open at the moment. Okay. So we are going to go ahead and get going. So if you are only on social media or buried under somebody else's brand, you don't own your leads. So this is such an important one. And in fact, we're going to talk about the importance of a website versus social media, because this is what I hear a lot of times. And even for myself, I've seen a few people who will, in their bios, if you will, redirect people back to their social media because they don't actually have a website. Okay, Patty is saying that it keeps stopping and she has no audio. I am seeing the audio is good on my end. Is anybody else struggling with this? It wouldn't surprise me, in fairness, that we're having that issue. But I'm going to keep going, but I'm going to continue to watch for the comments. So you do need a home base. That is what your website is. But I'm not saying that you don't need social. I am a huge believer that you need to have social to go hand in hand with your website. It's all about the different pieces of your marketing. It's not just one. It is all about the entire strategy. Social media is a tactic. Having Instagram is a tactic. Having blogs is a tactic. All of the tactics need to come together into an overarching strategy. That's where we said is you don't have to be techie. You have to be strategic. You don't have to be a marketer. You have to be strategic. And unfortunately, so many times we just get told, go be on Pinterest, everything will be great. Go have a website, everything will be great. Go have social media, whatever it is. But the reality is that all of these pieces are just one tactic within a larger strategy. So if you don't have a strategy, that's definitely where we need to go. Okay. So website versus social, you own your website. How many times have you heard that you don't own your social media platform? If you've never heard it before, I'm here to tell you, you don't own it. Zuckerberg and whoever else, they own that. You don't own it. Now, that's not to say that you're not going to continue to build out on it and do things with it, but you cannot rely on it alone. That is why you need to have an email address. That is why you need to have something that is going to exist even on the days that Facebook crashes. We've done trainings here before that just before we were supposed to go live, the entire Facebook system crashed out completely and we weren't able to do it. So as often as I say, we have replays or we have this or whatever, it's still at the mercy of whether or not Facebook allows those to be there. You don't own your Instagram account. You don't own your Facebook account. You don't own your LinkedIn account. You don't own any of those. It can change just like that. Somebody can decide something you said offended them, report you, and poof, you're gone. Somebody could hack you, you're gone. There's so many ways where in the blink of an eye, you could lose your entire marketing channel. And we need to make sure that you have backups in place, that you have alternative places. Social media is strictly a handshake. It's just people being able to come over and be like, hey, how's it going? Cool. See you later. Your website is where you're going to have those deeper conversations. That's where you're going to be able to let people know that you're legit. I actually was doing a little bit of SEO search work on a different types of pages, between landing pages, between host agencies and other such, just to see from my own clients who it is that has hosted sites, or they're part of their consortia, or they're part of whatever. How good is the SEO? How easy are they to find? And interestingly enough, the questions that came up in Google when I was Googling travel agent in this area, because I knew that was the area that they were from, the questions that came up below it: how do I not get scammed by a travel agent? How do I know my travel agent's legit? When those questions are coming up, that means that Google's getting that question a lot. And you and I both know that there is some companies out there that are more focused on recruiting people to pay a monthly fee than they are in attracting quality travel advisors, giving them the actual education, training, and understanding of the liabilities and risks involved with being a travel advisor than they are just being legit. So in which case, that's starting to become something that consumers are now being mindful of. It is so easy to create a social media page and then ghost. Your website is that next level. Your website is that next thing that's going to help give authenticity, authority, and help to build the trust so that when clients are checking you out, knowing whether or not you're actually a legit person, there's actually something there to back it up. Pardon me. Dual monitors. Pardon me. Okay. So Linda said, I think there's also scammers. I've received emails from Facebook admin, supposedly. Yeah. Anytime you receive an email from Facebook admin, I'm going to tell you it's a scammer. Do not ever, ever, ever click on a link from somebody that you get claiming to be Facebook admin. You will see that significantly more when you are running ads. I'm about to launch a bunch of ads coming up. Pardon me. And we're already in the process of setting up things in place to make sure that we don't have those scammery things going on. So, okay. So yeah. So do not click in there. Do not ever, ever, ever click the things that are in the in your emails. Joey's saying not in your DMs either. I will say that once, how do I get messages from Facebook? Because I have actually gotten a legit one from Facebook. Never click a link until you vetted the page. I'm just going to say that. I don't recall, and right now I'm completely drawing a blank on what it is that it looked like, but I do know I've received legit communications from them. But I will say any majority of your legit communications will show up in your business suite under notifications. So always double check it. And if you're not sure, send a screenshot to somebody else to vet it for you to help you out with that. So, okay, yeah, Facebook, yeah, that's what it is. It comes as a notification. Yes, perfect. Yeah, it will come on the bell, not in the messenger. Thank you, Joy. You're awesome. Okay, so algorithms control what gets seen. That is so true. The algorithms completely change. I've been doing research so that I can get my ads better set up. And so I've been checking out different host agencies, and I've been checking out different pages in the social media and things like that. And so I've been doing all of these different sorts of things in the last couple of days. So my entire algorithm is completely different than what it was 48 hours ago. 48 hours ago, it was very political. Can't say I'm not totally enjoying the break from it. So right now, it turns out every host agency out there is actively recruiting new travel advisors. We will be talking inside of the Travel Advisor Success Studio this month a little bit more about pixeling and part of why it is that my ads and other such have changed. So we'll be doing that over in the studio. But your website is available, searchable, and working for you 24/7, not for Mark Zuckerberg. So you want to make sure that your website is working for you. The algorithms work for what's going to get Zucky more money. So you want to make sure that you have a place to send people. Social media is noisy. I don't know about you. but it can be very noisy. My husband tried to tell me the other day when I asked him to do something for me, I don't like social media. And then I told him, show me your phone and show me how little time you spend on social media. By the way, I think I even pointed out that my husband has already sent me a video in the few minutes that I've been on here live, because that's right, he's back on social media. Anyways, everybody is on social media in some fashion or another. Heads up, if you're watching this live, you're on social media. It is a very noisy place. I'm not going to say that it doesn't work or that it's not noisy. It is noisy. But when you have clear, concise messaging, you're going to get through. But ultimately, your website, when it's done right, is focused, quiet, and designed to lead someone to decision. See, here's the thing. We often think about our website as just where we're going to put all this information. We're going to give them everything they need to know about us. Reality is they don't need to know about us. They need to know about what problems it is that get solved for people just like them. And so that's part of what calms the noise. Because when somebody gets there and goes, oh, they get me, it is a total game changer in the conversation. It makes it a very, very different conversation. So here's the bottom line. Social media supports your business. Your website will build your business. Okay, so what's the purpose of your website? It's to build trust and credibility, because we want to make sure that your website is going to be there to let them know that, yes, you are in fact legitimate. How many of you have ever checked out something on, like saw an ad or saw a post or something on social media and you were like, is this actually legit? You know, in the world of politics, I feel like I say that every single day from both sides, from all over the place, both countries. And I'm like, is this for real? So I am constantly finding myself Googling things to double check whether or not it's real. Did somebody say that? Did somebody agree to that? Is this actually what happened? All of these different sorts of things. The same is true for businesses, because I might see something that looks really cool on a social media post, but you better bet your bottom dollar I'm going to head over and double check their website to see if they are in fact legit. The biggest thing is that they have to have the similar look. They need to have the same energy. You don't want to Jekyll and Hyde type scenario where it's one person on social and another person on the website, and who the heck knows what you're going to get in real. You want to make sure that you're using your website, you're leveraging your website and your social medias to help build that trust and credibility. Biggest thing, if they can't find you, they can't trust you. Folks, it is 2025. If you do not have a digital presence, it is sort of like if the tree fell in the forest and no one was there to hear you. Did it actually fall? It is 2025. If you do not have a digital presence, are you actually real? Communicate your message clearly. This one is huge. And this is probably where I would say that most websites fall down, particularly when you are on a host agency website, you are on a templated website, using even a consortia website. Is your message, is your brand identity the one that's coming through? Are you completely in control of what's going out there? Are you able to help show them? Who do you help? What do you specialize in? How can you make their life easier? And most importantly, the number one thing forgotten off of almost every website, what to do next. What is your call to action? By the way, there should be 2 calls to action on your website: how to book a call and get on my email. Those are your only main 2 calls to action that you should have. Okay, any questions so far? We're just going to keep motoring as we go. Ultimately, clarity equals conversion. You will see so many people that want to be really cute because they think being cute and clever is memorable. Clear and concise will get you conversion every time. Cute and clever causes the clients to burn too many calories, and then they don't even know why they're there anymore. They don't understand what it is that's going on, and that's when you run into problems. Okay. So Your website is to generate leads. Your website can start conversations so you don't have to chase after them. Your website is going to provide them the information to get things started. It's going to give them a place to go in order to be able to book that call, get on the email. Perhaps there's a blog article that you want them to check out. There's something there that's going to solve some of the most basic questions, because we have to understand so much of sales happens long before they make that inquiry. Sales starts from the moment that they have an interest, but sales end the moment they encounter a friction that you haven't figured out how to lower. So perhaps there is some friction points that come into the conversation long before they're ready to reach out to book a call. Number one, I hear all the time, what is it like to work with a travel advisor? That should be a leading blog article that you push all over your social medias, that make it as one of the landing pages that they hit when they come off of social media into your website. What does it mean to actually work with a travel advisor? What does it mean to work with me? So that way you're helping to reduce those friction points right out of the gate. It lets people know who you are, how you help, and how to take the next step. There's so many times that I go to websites, not just in the travel industry, but just as a whole, and the number one thing that they're missing is a call to action. And what that call to action is how to take the next step. How many of you have ever gone to a restaurant and you're like, is anybody going to take our order? Or worse yet, at the end of the night, you're full, possibly a little over full. And you're like, is anybody going to come take our money? Because at this point, you're not going to jump up and down and be like, yo, I want to pay you. You're more likely to want to pay them before you've eaten. But afterwards, you're like, hello, is anybody want my credit card? It works, I promise. But the thing is that you want to make sure that your clients know what the next step is. So after they've gone through the website and they're like, yes, I'm ready to book, we want to make sure that they have a place to book a call. So Elisa, calls to action are to get on the email or to book a call. It's either to start working with you or to go into a nurture sequence. Those are the two things. Your website is also going to filter out the wrong people. See, this is something that I think the big host agency websites really struggle with, because they're trying to feed the masses. They're giving everybody this one big templated website. And here's the deal. They're getting paid by the suppliers that are on your website. If you are using a website that somebody else has given you that has any supplier content on there, you might be paying for the website. You might say, oh, it's included in my monthly fees. I promise you, you've paid for it in your monthly fees. But the thing is that whoever is putting it on there got paid by the supplier to put it there. They sold the real estate you thought you owned. Think about that for a moment. They sold real estate that you already were paying a lease on. That kind of sucks. It'd be like showing up at your hotel to find out that they already rented out the room to somebody else. You're not going to go ahead and join the people in that room. Well, maybe you will. I'm not here to judge. But what I am saying, though, is that odds are good you are going to close the door, you are going to back away, and you're going to go down to the front desk and be like, yo, you gave my room away. What the heck? I'm paying for this. The same thing is true on your website when somebody else is putting supplier content on there and you're not getting paid for it. Okay. By clearly stating who you're for and who you're not for, your site pre-qualifies leads and saves you time with the tire kicker inquiries. How many, yes or no, have you ever got leads that you were like, do you have any idea? Like you just have no clue where these leads came from. Because I forevermore, as people come into this Facebook group here, I'm not getting leads, or I'm not getting qualified leads, or my leads aren't aligned with what I want to sell. All of these things, that's all coming through your messaging. If your messaging isn't clear and concise as to who it is that you want to work with, what it is you want to sell, then they're not going to come through. Okay. Educate and nurture your visitors. This is an important one. So you have so many opportunities through blogs, through frequently asked questions, service pages. You can build that trust and help clients feel confident booking with you. There's so many things that you can put into there. And I know that can sound really overwhelming to hear so many things. Spoiler, this is what we're talking about in the Success Studio this month. It's not about putting everything in your website all at once. In fact, the best way to trick the SEO game is to make sure that you are doing something on your website at least once a week. So it is not a matter of launching a website with 37 blogs on there. It is a matter of putting one blog on there and then next week adding another. And then a couple days later, adding another and another and another and another. And guess what? 6 months from now, your website will be so much more robust than it is today. The bonus, you've worked the algorithm game in order to increase it as well. So while there is a future plan of it, my website is going to be forevermore a work in progress. I just added a blog yesterday. You can go check that out on my website. Go to artofsellingtravel.com/blog, I think it is. It'll take you to all of the blog articles we got on there. Just added one yesterday. Increase your visibility with SEO. This is such an important one. If you want strangers to find you online, you need a website that's searchable. We're going to come back to that conversation a little bit later. SEO-friendly sites can bring you leads you didn't have to pay for. I don't know about you, but I would love some free strangers that already know what it is that I do and want to work with me. Isn't that really what we're all after? And finally, reflect your brand and voice. Unlike a host agency page, your site can fully reflect your style, tone, niche, and personality, and you can own your own brand. You want to make sure that you are separate from everybody else, that you are unique to everybody else. Because if you were exactly the same, why would somebody work with you? If your differentiator is price, you are already in a race to the bottom, and that's just simply not going to work. Okay, so here I want to talk about a full website versus a landing page. And so a full website is going to be multi-pages. You can get, this is where the language gets a little tricky, because you will hear some people talk about, I just have a landing page on, say, Wix. And I'm going to use Wix as an example because it's easier to talk about. So you can start with a single full page landing page on Wix as your website. Sorry, I have a dog under my desk who's taking up too much room and I have to move my legs. Wix is going to give you the opportunity. You can just do a single landing page. And what that means is you don't have any pages that click over to the next one. That's okay. That is a little bit different than what we're going to refer to as landing pages for some of this conversation. So we're going to refer more to it like when we're talking about a Canva website, because you can build a landing page in Canva, or you can build a link in bio page on Linktree, which is a landing page. Some of the email softwares like ConvertKit or kit.com, kit.co will do a landing page. So that's where you can have a domain that goes just to that page, and then you can have them take an action. The problem to that is that it's not SEO friendly, which means nobody can actually search that. Oh goodness, I just lost all of my comments here. So let me just find that again. Apparently my site timed out. Okay, so, okay. So you can do brand building. It's limited on the other ones, particularly if you're on the lower price point or the free versions. A lot of them require their branding to be on there, or that you're limited in what your options are and other such. A long-term asset, you can have a Wix, a Showit, WordPress, whatever it is. You can build those sites and they have longevity to them because you can add, you can tweak, you can reformat. There's so many more things that you can do with them. And of course, lead generation. Now, lead generation is possible to a degree on some of those landing pages, but it's just not going to be the same. Kathy says, I use a free website supplied by my host, no leads. What is the average price for me to have my own website? You know what, Kathy? I totally apologize. I meant to quickly Google the price of Wix. I believe it's about $20 a month once the site is up and built. It is a site you can build yourself. You can also have a designer build it. I'm going to make myself a note because I wanted to come back to having a designer build it. And some of the things to watch for when you do that, and to make sure you don't end up in where you're paying for it for the rest of your life type thing. So why Canva pages and link in bios don't work. They're not indexed by search engines. You can't track performance, the analytics, the SEO. Often not branded or professional, and risk of being lost when the platform shuts down or changes. But I want to give you another really quick SEO tip. Every time you have somebody go to your website and they touch your website, or you send from one website over to your website or vice versa, you're going to automatically raise up inside of the world of whether or not this is a valid or legit site. Pardon me. Problem with doing it this way is that hang on, I need to see if I can mute some conversations here. My apologies. Mute notifications. There we go. Mute all. Okay. For the next hour. Okay. Sorry. I just was getting confused here. So, when you can link it back and forth, so you are going to raise the value, if you will, of your website SEO. So, sorry, 1 second. Augie, move, please. Move. Sorry, she is not a small dog, and she has decided she needs to be right here. Go. Sorry. So when you have a link in bio, you can still do a link in bio. If you go to my social media, it will actually send you to a page that's on my website. I actually think it's artistsellingtravel.com/social links. Speaking of, I need to go and get it updated just to make sure it's got the most recent things in there. But I'm sending people from social media directly onto my site. I'm not sending them to somebody else's. See, when you send them to somebody else is getting to track the data, is getting to get all of the hits versus you. When people come to my website, I can see where are they coming from. I can see how much time they're spending on my website. I can see what it is that they're clicking. Not to sound all creepy, but if you're on my website and you're clicking things, I can see how many things are being clicked, what's getting people's attention. When I have my podcast, I can see all of those download pieces so that way I know which episodes are going to be more popular, which episodes are okay. I need to bring that one back, have more conversations about that. I also have so many other metrics that I can follow. When you use things like a Canva site or a Linktree or some of these other ones, what was one? I think it was called Milkshake or something like that. You don't get those analytics. You don't get to have that. But again, like I said, because my website links over, sends a hook, like a fish hook over to Instagram, and then somebody clicks from Instagram, fish hooks back, it helps raise up the ease with which my site can get seen. Okay. So using somebody else's website like a host agency. So the pros, it's fast and it's pre-built. Those are some massive pros. Now, here's something else I'm going to throw in here. If you are getting a website from your host agency and it is 100% included, there's no reduction for removing it, I'm going to tell you, still have it. But on that site, I would build in a hook that sends them over to your own. Because here's the cons. You're building their brand, not yours, because they're getting the data. In the event you leave, from that agency, guess what? They still have the data from having come through their systems, through their portals to get to your site, into your landing page of your host agency. So if you leave, even though they say we don't market to your clients, if it's got a cookie factor, which most host agencies have cookied every website, they're able to continue to target your clients or your visitors after you're gone. That is incredible data mining that they're able to have, and potentially you're selling to others that you want to make sure that you are getting it. You have limited customization. So therefore, you're not really able to really create your own brand, create your specialty. I remember back years ago when I was part of a franchise, they were like, we're going to help you out. We're going to let you select specialization. So with specialization, I chose 2 to 3 things for each member of my team. Well, other agency owners went, wow, this is brilliant. And they marked every single one of them. Why? Because they wanted to get found easier and faster. There was no other way for them to do it. I'm sorry, you are not a specialist when you have 47 things tagged. You are not. You are a specialist at being a generalist at that point. So you have limited customization. You can't add SEO or a blog. Those are really, really big pieces. Again, if you want to get found, you need to be able to make sure that it is unique, that it is a way in order for you to be able to get seen. So Kathy's saying, I don't think it's possible to add a hook to a new website that I own. Host websites are very limited. Okay, so yeah, if you're not even able to put a button that says, come see me over here, then yeah, you have almost no customization at all. My site is hosted by my host agency, but is mapped to my domain, and I have full access to Google Analytics for my site. Would it still make sense to have a separate site? So we're going to come to that right now. It's not portable if you switch hosts. This is something that's really important. And actually, if you own a major host agency, please close your ears because this is not for you. But here is the deal. A lot of host agencies will try and give you a host agency email. I am going to highly, highly, highly encourage you to always use your own email. And I'm not talking to Gmail. I am talking an at yourtravelagencybrand.com, one that is unique to you. And the reason for that is that in the event that you want to leave that host agency, you need to make sure that you own the assets. Your website being one of them, your domain being one of them, and absolutely positively your client communication channel you need to own. Because if you want to switch host agencies and you've been using their email, guess what? You have now lost all communication with your clients. You want to make sure that you own that communication channel with your clients so that even if you are no longer with that host agency, you can still continue to communicate with your clients. I was very, very lucky when I owned my franchise that somebody else had left the franchise a year or two prior to me. So they gave me the heads up on the email thing because it wasn't something I had thought of. So I had actually started transitioning to a different email address almost a year prior to my move. The reason being, I wanted to make sure I still had the ability to communicate with clients that I had spent a fortune in time, energy, and money to make my clients. So I'm going to strongly encourage you to make sure that you have something in place to be able to have that beyond just the host. I love being able to be with a host by choice, not because I feel completely boxed into an abusive relationship where I could lose everything if I was to leave them. When you divorce somebody, I want this to be a happy co-parenting divorce where everybody is in a good mood. Everybody can go to the barbecue afterwards, not one where somebody holds more power than the other. This is about building your business, not theirs. Okay, so my host has a site builder that is our own site as well as their agent showcase. Do the same pitfalls apply since it is to your own domain? Do you own that site in the event you leave that host agency? That is the number one question to ask. If you leave that host agency, is that still your site? If the answer is no, then yes, the same pitfalls are in place. Why do you need your own website? To control the message, the design, the SEO, and most importantly, the data. You look more legit to both Google and potential clients. Also, you want to make sure that you are doing something to update your site at least once a week in order for Google to be like, oh yeah, this is still a valid site. You can showcase what makes you different. You're building a long-term marketing foundation. Again, if you leave that host agency, yes, you can build up your own website, you can build up everything else. But when you leave and you have to rebuild, if you did not build your own, all of that virtual data, if you will, all of that virtual fish hooks back and forth, everything else is wiped out in an instant. So again, it's about understanding you're building a business for yourself, not just building an outside sales contract for somebody else's business. There is a very big fundamental difference between the two. What can your website do for you? It can attract new clients with search optimized content. This is so very important. If you are stuck in there's nobody in my area buying, you don't have a website that's giving you far enough reach and to be able to be seen. You want to convert visitors with clear calls to action, build your email list with a lead magnet, automate marketing, and save time. Okay, so what's next? If you have not already secure your domain name, and if you don't know what agency name you want to call it, secure your own actual name if at all possible. If you go in there and .com's not available, but you're going to do .net, I'm telling you, don't do that. If somebody else has already secured the .com or the .ca or the .com and the .ca, if you were in Canada and .com and .ca are available, grab both. If .com is not available, but .ca is, I'm not sure I would recommend it because you're going to have people who automatically default to the other one. I'm seeing some that they're like, well, now you can do .travel or now you can do whatever it is. People still look primarily for the .com or the .ca. Oh, .co was the one I saw. Oh, I couldn't get my amazing travel agency.com, but I could get my amazing travel agency.co. So I grabbed it. That's not actually going to get you what you think it will. But I am also going to say, if you are in a place where if you were Canadian.com and .ca are available, grab them both because there are some unscrupulous people who will grab the .com if you only grab the .ca and then they will redirect. So that's a whole other conversation. You want to solidify your niche. You want to know what your messaging and your brand identity is. And if you are still struggling, or if you just simply want access to more trainings, just similar like this, but also live group coaching, then come join us over in the Travel Advisor Success Studio. You can see that at artofsellingtravel.com. We have a button right at the top that says join the studio. It's only $27 a month. We would love to have you in there. I'm going to read through, see what there is for some questions here at the end. So Regina said, I did my full agency name and a short version as well. Which should I make my main business cards? The one that's easiest to remember and easiest to spell. So it depends what your domain name options are. For myself, even though I own a multitude, and I do mean a multitude of domain names. And part of that is because I use them in different ways, but also too, I want to make sure certain things are sealed up. And then I actually redirect almost all of them to the same place right now. But my name, Glenda Beagle, I have both .com and .ca. I try not to actually use glendabeagle.com or .ca. And the reason is it is shocking how many times I have to explain how to spell beagle. So if you have to add spellings or don't forget this or don't forget that, it ends up becoming a lot. So attitude and altitudestravel.com, ATT and LAT.com. You could use either. I'm going to say neither one really rolls off the tongue. Attitudes and latitudestravel.com. That one would work definitely for clickable links, but things to have people type in, that's a lot to have them type in. Okay. Yeah. I would wonder if there was anything shorter and clearer. Just because I want you to think of because if you were verbally telling people this, where are they going to hear it? Are those easy words to spell? Because even if you look at attitudes versus latitudes, there's double T's in the first one, but single T in the second. It just becomes one of those things that I would be curious. It does work, but yeah. So I share my name with a psychiatrist who has a large online presence. Oh, yeah, that's fortunate. Reagan Wonders, but .com is taken. Okay. Alt travel. Oh, I want to see. Is it going to let me see the comments? It doesn't really want to let me. Hang on. This may give me back. Let me hang on. There we go. Now I can see more. Okay. So yeah. So ReaganWanders.com is taken already. Alt travel. I just bought my domain last week. What else do we have for questions? If you have a question, drop them at the end here. I'm going to just scroll through. Yeah, Byron, I would definitely ask some more questions on that, but I'm going to say if it's hosted by your host agency, in the event you choose to leave, they're going to hold on to it. And then all of the stuff you've put on there is gone. Now, one thing, if you are using a host agency site, I'm going to say, consider it temporary. If you are adding any content, create yourself a Google Drive or somewhere like that and copy and paste all of the same content. That way, when the time comes to build out your own site, you don't have to start from scratch. You already have a lot of that written out. So Melissa, I have that. My page on the agency page has a pop-up to sign up for my email or my landing page. Perfect. Yeah, Kristen saying show it was $37 a month with the blog. Reagan saying Wix is $36 a month. I would double check, Reagan, because I feel like they usually have 50% off promos. I haven't done a Wix one in quite a while, but usually there's a 50% off if you do it for the year, and it works out to closer to about $20 a month. Although if you are by chance Canadian, 36 would be about $20 a month. So, Okay, I think that is good. So Lisa said, I just mapped my host agency site to my own name, lisagtravel.com. Is that what I should do? Yeah, you can do that for now, but I would get to a point where your website is your own, completely separate away from your host, simply so that you have the opportunity to build yours your own way. Rick is saying, yes, they still offer that on Wix. Is Wix the best one to use? Which one you want to use is entirely up to you. I'm going to say I'm not a big fan of WordPress because that takes an awful lot of coding and other such. Wix is truly a drag and drop. You can pull things in. I do not consider myself tech savvy, but I definitely have had Wix sites and did quite well with them. My husband has actually spent some time studying to learn how to build out Wix sites. And he said once he got in there, he's like, actually, it's really simple. So for me, it is the one I would recommend. Some people love Showit, but I do myself like Wix. My site is not on Wix, and that's just only simply because the trainings and memberships and coursing, or not coursing, coaching and everything else that I do all gets housed over on the site that I used. And I just needed something more robust with a paywall. So perfect. Does anyone have a GoDaddy site? I had my domain through GoDaddy. Some of my domains come from GoDaddy, but I still transported it over to a Wix site. And now actually some of those come over into the system that I have now. I haven't personally been a huge fan of the GoDaddy sites themselves. And I haven't actually heard of a lot of people who love theirs. Most of them end up over there. So Linda's saying she is techie. WordPress is pretty straightforward and has some drag and drop too. Okay, then that must be new, because I've heard a lot of things over the years about WordPress, especially if you start getting into the world of the plugins and doing things that the plugins can drop off, versus Wix is what they call like an all-in-one. So if Wix updates a plugin, and the plugins belong to Wix, and therefore Wix is going to auto set everything back to it. But as a reminder, if you want to come join us over in the Travel Advisor Success Studio, just head on over to artistsellingtravel.com. Right up at the top, it's going to give you a button that says come join us in the Success Studio. We drop a training on the first of each month into the portal. We do 2 coaching calls per month where you get to come ask your questions. And there's usually a little bit of training at the beginning of each of those. And once a quarter, we also do a masterclass. The next masterclass is going to be in like 2 weeks here. And it's actually on all of the follow-up of your email sequence. Elise is saying, don't pay $2,000 for a custom built site. Okay, so here is the deal. You can build it yourself, or you can pay to have that sped up. What I will say, and this is what I wanted to talk about earlier, when you have a designer build it, here is my thing to having a designer build it. 1, look and find out if they're going to help you with the copy, but not just do they help you with the copy. And in fact, Elisa, you are part of the studio, so definitely bring your copy into the studio. We'll help walk you through it to make sure you're getting like really good copy in there. But also too, when the designer builds it, make sure that they that they never buy your domain for you. Never, ever, ever, ever let a designer buy your domain for you, because then they own it and you are toast if you guys have a falling out. 2, never have a site that is reliant on them to house it for you. Because again, it only exists as long as you continue to pay them every month. There was a site, I don't remember what I was looking at. It was something I think it was for travel advisors, and they will build your site. And it was started, I think, at $900 and went up to like $3,000 to build it, depending how much you wanted. But then they turned around and charged an additional $89 a month for them to continue to maintain. Don't do that. There's so many other options out there. If you can find a designer that will help you build out a Wix, or you can buy a template or Wix or Showit or whichever one you want to do. And then you're just paying the $20 or $30 a month to continue to house it there. Yes, you could pay somebody then to manage it for you after that. But a lot of times that $89 is just them going in to make sure that the plugins are still attached, to make sure that this is done or that's done. So we can have a much deeper conversation on that inside the studio. So if you are about to do that, just bring it over to the Success Studio. We'll have a deeper conversation about that on our next coaching call. And I hope you did not just lose $500. But if the comparison is to lose 2,000, then 500 is not as much, but we'll definitely have a conversation. There's definitely some options to having somebody on Fiverr do it, but make sure you know what it is that you are getting them to help you with. What are the terms and conditions? What is it that they're going to build? Are they providing the copy for you? Are you providing the copy? What are all the things that go into that? There's so much more than just finding somebody on Fiverr. How much do you have to provide? Because it is possible that you have to give them every asset, everything, so that by the time you're done, you might as well have just done it yourself. But then there's also other ones that do a phenomenal job. So I'm just going to say, do your research on Fiverr before you choose somebody, but it is definitely an option. Ultimately, does not matter how beautiful a site is, comes down to how fast does it load, how easy is it to navigate, what is the SEO in the back end, and most importantly, what is the copy? Is the copy going to drive them to take action, or does it leave them confused? That is a huge part of the process. Oh no. Lisa's saying, I had a web designer buy my domain. Now what? I've been using it for the past 6 months. I'm not sure. It depends on what that looks like. Depends on what the terms and conditions of your contract are. Because if they bought your domain, they technically own it. So I would ask them to transfer the ownership of the domain name to you. And if they give you resistance right away, then you're going to need to dig a lot further. But I would not put this off, because otherwise you are going to create all of your marketing assets based on that email address. And if you two have a falling out, you are going to be replacing all of that marketing collateral. And if your email is tied to that domain, and ultimately, if you want to get into doing email marketing and doing all of these other sorts of things, you're going to have to be able to set up the SPF and the DNS and everything else behind the scenes. So you're going to need to have access to that domain. And if they own the domain, you will never officially be free of them. So awesome. Any other questions? I hope to see you all over inside of the Travel Advisor Success Studio. Again, it's only $27 a month. We do have a promotion for anybody who takes the annual. You get it for, I think it's $270 for the whole year. Plus, we're still including our Fees with Ease mini course with it when you come in. So the replay will be up as soon as Facebook goes through its buffering when we go off. So usually takes about 5-10 minutes, and then it will be up. Melissa, where do you go to create your own email domain? I'm currently using the email address my agency gave me, but I think I need to create my own. Do you have a domain name at all of your own so far? Because that's an important one. You're going to want to go probably like to a Squarespace or even a GoDaddy or something like that. Purchase your domain. Then from there, you're going to get your own email address. In order to do email marketing, you have to also have an email address in your name. You can't use an @gmail.com to be sending out email marketing to your clients. So that would be your first step, is to go to a domain host. So Squarespace, GoDaddy, those are the two that mine are at. Other people will have a whole list of them. So, and if you have your own domain, you can purchase Google Workspace, yes, afterwards. And I highly recommend that too, because then you have a paid Google Workspace, which gives you so much more storage and other things for your business as well. And Elisa, I love you. Thank you. She said it's a great investment. Travel Advisor Success Studio. Check it out. It is definitely a great way to help you grow your business. Each month is focused on a specific topic. This month is all about websites. Last month was all about email marketing. And when you join, you get access to all of the other ones. Why can't I use Gmail? If you want to use email marketing through, through like to send out mass emails and other such, and it ends at gmail.com, it typically is not deliverable to the majority of your clients. And it is now at a point due to anti-spam laws that they won't allow that. So you do have to have a paid domain, and then you have to go in and configure and set up all of the things behind the scenes with your SPF and DNS. And apparently SPF is not sunblock. But anyways, so there's that. And as Linda said, it does not look professional. That's definitely one part of it. But from a technical part of it is that you cannot do email marketing through kit.co or places like that with an @gmail.com and still get full deliverability. So it is required due to anti-spam laws for you to have an actual domain. I think part of it's also so that they can track you down, so that if you are spamming and ripping people off, they have a better way to be able to track you and find you versus a free site. Okay, so with that, we are going to wrap up. You guys have been fabulous. I am so sorry for starting late. And until next time, we will see you later. Bye-bye.